So the recipe we're going to make today is called Oaxaca cheese. That's right, you heard it right. Oaxaca. 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 And let me guess, you've never heard of it before. Well, guess what? Neither did I until I tried it last year. The thing is if you've been in your favorite Mexican restaurant, though, I bet you have had it if you've had a quesadilla. It's that delicious white cheese that they put in the quesadillas. Also, you're going to want to stay to the end. We're going to talk about what to do with all that whey we just made, as well as I'm going to show you a recipe that I make with my Oaxaca, and it's super easy and delicious. There's a list of what you'll need in the description below. So here we have our raw milk, a whole gallon. And we're going to need citric acid, 1.5 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt or pickling salt. I used pickling salt. Animal rennet, we're going to use 1/4 teaspoon of that. A bowl to put your salt in, it just makes things a whole lot easier. And then 1.5 cups of distilled water or purified water. You do not want to use tap water. A bowl to put boiling water in, and ice to put water in because you're going to need ice water. Of course, you'll need a thermometer. Digital will work, but you can also use a regular meat thermometer. A spatula, a strainer of some sort to pull your cheese out of the whey, and a knife to cut the curds with. You'll also need a stainless steel pot big enough to hold the gallon of milk, cheesecloth, a strainer, and a bowl to catch the whey in. So before we begin, we're going to get the rennet and the citric acid ready. I'm going to combine 1/4 cup of distilled water with 1/4 teaspoon of animal rennet. You can get this off of Amazon or any cheese making company. Next, we're going to take 1 cup of distilled water and mix in our 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid. You can get that at any local grocery store or any place that sells canning supplies. I also want you to take note, I have a pot of water next to the cheese pot on the stove. Make sure you have that ready. We're going to need some boiled water for later in the recipe. Okay, time to put the milk in. I'm using raw, unpasteurized goat milk. And I'll add to this the citric acid. I've got my heat on low, and I'm going to stir it with a spatula until I bring the milk to 90 degrees. Okay, we're almost there. Keep an eye on it from this point on, because really quickly you're going to hit 90 degrees. At this point, you're going to remove it from the heat. Next, we're going to add the rennet solution, and you're going to stir it for 30 seconds in a figure-8 pattern. You're going to do that to make sure it's really mixed in well. You're going to cover it and leave it to sit for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, remove the lid and we're going to slice the curds. This is when you use your long knife. You're going to cut it in a grid pattern, first one way and then the other. Next, you're going to return the pot onto the stove with low heat. And with your slotted spoon or your ladle, you're going to gently stir the curds and bring it back up to 110 degrees. Once it reaches 110 degrees, you're going to remove it and put it in a dampened cheesecloth inside of a strainer to drain it off. Next, you're going to pour the whey and the cheese curds through the strainer with the dampened cheesecloth. You're going to let it continue to drain out, sprinkle that pickling salt on top, knead it into the cheese, and then let it sit for 30 minutes. Once that's done, you're going to ball it up and put it into 175-degree water and let it soften up. Then stretch it until the consistency is soft and creamy. Once that's done, ball it up, and you're going to stretch it into ribbons to go into the ice water. This will also stop the cooking process. Once you let it sit in the ice water for about 30 to 60 seconds, it'll be hard enough for you to ball it up. Just roll it up like you would a ball of yarn, and you can actually store it in an airtight container and just take it out whenever you need it. I don't know how long it lasts because it doesn't last very long in my house, but enjoy! You have made a Oaxaca! Congratulations! Let me know in the comments below how you used it in your recipes and how you like it. I'd like to remind you, if you've liked this video and it's helped you, please consider liking and subscribing for more great videos from Maplewood Homestead. So now your cheese is made and you're stuck with all this whey. What do you do with it? Well, there's so many different things you can do with it. One, you can feed it to your animals. It's still got a lot of good nutrients in it and a lot of good proteins, even though you've taken the fat out for the cheese. So give it to the pigs, give it to the dogs, give it to the cats, give it to the chickens. They'll all eat it. Another thing you can do is dilute it. If it's an acidic whey, dilute it 70% water and 30% whey. You can spray it on your plants to prevent, in your garden, to prevent powdery mildew if you think it's threatening. Or you can put it into the ground, that same combination, and use it to feed your plants. Another thing you can do is freeze it. Freeze it for later use. And anything that you use it in, you can use it in smoothies, you can use it for baking. There's so many different ways that you can use whey. What am I going to do with this whey? I'm going to cook it down and make some ricotta, but that's a whole nother video. And now, time to cook with my Oaxaca. This is a super simple recipe. The first thing you're going to do is brown your 2 pounds of ground beef. When it's browned up, you're going to go ahead and put your salsa in. I'm using salsa that I made from last year's garden. I would also probably throw in some hatch green chili if I had it. Then go ahead and add the tablespoon of sage and the tablespoon of garlic powder. You're just going to continue cooking that up until it's all nice and yummy. Once the meat's done cooking, whoops, I don't have enough salsa. You can never have enough salsa, can you? Once it's done cooking, I'm going to go ahead and drain it off, drain off all the fat and grease. I love my colander. It comes into so many handy uses. And once I got it back into the pan, I'm going to put my Oaxaca cheese and melt it on top. And really, yes, it's that simple. And that is my delicious recipe that I use my Oaxaca for.